Hey, did you know your high ticket buyers have a specific language that they prefer, certain words or phrases that will get them over the hump, get over some of those objections, and let them know they're at the right place and that they can enroll in your high ticket coaching program right away? Today, I'm going to walk you through how to really get a good sense, even if your entire audience is speaking the English language. Obviously, there's certain words and things like that that is kind of insider language for your audience. And once you get a good sense of that, and start using stop using all that outsider type of language that is kind of unconsciously or consciously pushing them away. You're going to enroll a lot more people. You're going to convert a lot more people in your sales conversations, and you're going to let your audience is going to come in with a lot more confidence that they're in the right place, that you're speaking their language, and that your promises of getting the outcome or opportunity that you promise the most, more confidence in actually getting there. So you're gonna have more motivated people along the way. So I'll walk you through a couple of different steps of actually figuring out. It takes some testing along the way, but like what words and phrases are really going to resonate with your audience as much as possible. This is something you can use for, again, your front end as well. If you got a low ticket type of offer, if you got a free opt-in webinar, whatever it is, start thinking about like what is your audience's kind of insider language, and how can I start to use more of that to increase the conversions, increase the amount of people that are signing up for sales calls or sales conversations, and get more people into your high ticket conversations. I've seen it work time and time again. So if it's the first time joining one of my lives, I'm Brian Czekanski, and I help coaches and companies 10x their high ticket sales without any need for sales calls whatsoever. So I do everything via email or chat, having those conversations that you would have on sales calls. Most people don't believe it's possible. Like, you don't take sales calls. Like, how do you actually get them all over the line? And it's really in the same way that you're having a conversation with somebody over the phone, having that same conversation via email. There's no time pressure. I don't have another sales call lined up. I can have 100 of these sales conversations in an hour. I can have thousands over a period of days. So it's something that works at scale. And when you're having that amount of sales conversations at scale, you really get a great sense of what is that, how do people describe their problems? How do they describe the outcomes they're looking for? What's their emotional hot button issues? Like, what's the reason why trying to get some of those outcomes? And they put the truth on the table as well. Like, this is the one thing that I like in these one-to-one conversations with people via email, try to get the truth on the table as much as possible, so I can answer any questions or objections or any type of barriers that is preventing them from getting to that finish line of signing up for your high ticket coaching program. So a lot of times like on a sales call on the phone, there's just not enough time. There's not enough back and forth to get to all those things that they might be worried about or in the back of their head. By doing it via email or chat, I can kind of slow the whole process down, answer all the questions and objections that they have, and get them to the point where they're 100% ready and confident that your program is right for them. And then they jump in on day one a lot more motivated and confident to get that result. They're more, taking consistent action and more likely to become a really great success story or testimonial for you. So a couple things I want to walk through in terms of, what's working for me in terms of just finding out like, okay, what's that insider type of language, especially with new coaching clients that I'm working with. I haven't had that experience of getting, having those one-to-one conversations with their leads or low ticket buyers yet. So I don't have that exact insider language they're using. So I have to do some research to get a good sense of that as much as possible. If I can add, I do ask these coaches like, hey, can I jump on a 20-30 minute conversation with some of your past high ticket clients that have had lots of success? Like, that's the number one thing that I would do and think about, especially if you have a sales team or if you're a coach running your own sales calls right now. Go back to those past high ticket clients that you've had that have had success and jump on a conversation, a recorded conversation, where you can get a transcript, you can get their exact words and phrases and walk them through the whole, like the before, the during, the after of their journey of getting into your high ticket program. What were they struggling with before? How would they describe those problems? How is it kind of manifesting in their life? What are those specific moments that they were struggling with? What was their experience like as they went through your program? Like, what were the ups? What were the downs? What were those periods of hesitancy? And then what's their after after look like? What are the outcomes that they've been able to achieve? How's that affected their entire life? And how do they describe it in their own words and phrases? And all that is really just gold that you should be bringing back to your marketing, whether it's selling your high ticket stuff or low ticket stuff, and echoing back those words and phrases back to your prospects and your audience, because again, that's the insider language that you're looking for along the way. So the good part is like you other like with AI coming through and things like that, this is where you can get a few other tools in addition to talking to your past clients. Say you just launched a high ticket program today and you don't have those past clients to go to. Like let's take that scenario. Let's walk you through what else you can do to get people to the other end and feeling good about your program. So I'm just going to show you a couple different um, slides here to give you a sense. So first one, we talked about the testimonial guide and things like that. So again, as you go back, first step I would take, and this is kind of what I ask for all my new clients or new coaching clients. Like again, if I can jump on the call with them, that's perfectly fine. But if you have a bunch of different success stories, think about like I would just kind of jot down these 5 questions. Like these 5 questions, send them back to your past success stories and ask them to either record an audio message or a video message. We don't as much want that written. we don't want the answers written out because people tend to edit and they don't give you the kind of like, again, that raw insider language that they would use. So if they can use loom.com, jump on a quick video and answer some of these questions, that's perfect. Even if it's an audio message on their phone, if they want to leave a voicemail on your I've had that happen as well. Like, hey, just leave me a voicemail at this number. Answer these 5 questions. That's perfect too. All you want to do is kind of have somebody talking as much as possible about their experience. You can get that transcription. You can kind of just copy down those words and phrases. And again, that's gold for your marketing and kind of getting a sense for like, what is that insider language along the way. So use these 5 different questions and go back to your past clients as much as possible to do that. But again, using AI is obviously something a little bit newer here. So like one of the things I always start with is just getting a sense for like, what is my client's perspective? So this is a little bit longer of an example. So you can see the super long prompt here. It was just, this was for a relationship coach who had a really specific audience, a really specific avatar that he was going after. So a little bit more detail in terms of that specific audience that he was putting in there. You don't necessarily have to have that for your audience, but again, all I'm asking AI to do is write an emotional 1,000-word journal entry to kind of get a better sense of their perspective. AI is not perfect in terms of the exact words and phrases to use, but what you'll see is that AI knows your audience probably better than you do if you give it the right guardrails, if you give it the right guidance in terms of like, okay, here's the exact audience I want you to focus on, and here's the outcome or problem that they're dealing with, and gives you a really nice result. So again, like kind of give me like, this is kind of where I start with like, what is that, allow me to kind of sit here and read through this journal of this person to get a better sense of where they're coming from, what they're dealing with, what are the specific instances during the day where they're struggling, and go through this. As you kind of go through this prompt, again, just asking AI to write a 1,000-word, like whatever the number is, write a journal entry for this specific audience suffering from this problem. They're feeling these emotions, and hit enter and see what comes out. And you'll see, again, as you get more and more specific about your high ticket clients, the result that comes out is going to be really good because it gets into the language inside of their head. And that's really what we want as much as possible. Like, what are they, how are they dealing with these things along the way? The other part you can do as well is like take it from the perspective of the not only what are those thoughts in their head, but like how are other people reacting to them? So how are they perceiving others, looking at them and looking at their problems? So again, another great one to kind of put in as a prompt to get a sense of like, okay, especially in the relationship, like for this one, relationship space, like how are other people, if I'm a bachelor that's about to hit 40, like how are other people perceiving me, and how am I even looking at their perception as well as we go through? And then I would say on the other side, like get to, I'm going to scroll down a little bit more, but then take it from the other side, take it through. They've already had that transformation. They've already been through your program. Like they've already solved whatever problem that they have. Like let AI kind of show you that transformation as well. So like the before picture can give you a really great sense of from a journal perspective. transformation from the other side. So I can say like this is the starting point that I use, especially with all my clients, just to get like, even if I'm not using the exact words and phrases and putting it into the sales conversations that I'm having, it just allows me to kind of sit in that audience's seat or shoes or whatever you want to say, to get a sense of like, okay, like what are those thoughts in their head? What are they worried about? How are they perceiving others are perceiving them? And you get a great sense. And again, you can tweak this based on your specific audience and what you're looking for, but a great starting point in terms of what you are looking for going forward. So again, just I would say number one in terms of perspective, but also just take a look at the language that comes up, and especially if you can be more specific and feed into AI. Again, if you go back to your high ticket clients and feed in and you can feed to AI, like, okay, here's what my specific audience said. Here's an example of a success story. It can really give you more specifics, and it can really tie in. You can ask AI, can you analyze this language and give me the most popular words and phrases, and allow it to do the work and analysis that you're trying to do going forward. Um, so that's one part of it. And then the other part is just kind of walking you through. So again, this is kind of like, how do I get in the head of my audience? Obviously talk to them. Number one, go back to those past clients that you've had really success with, forums. Again, I work with a lot in the health coaching space. Like I go to Reddit, I go to Facebook groups, all those things, where your audience hangs out. You can just be a fly on the wall and see like how do they describe their problem. If they've if they got to the other side, how would they describe their transformation? What moments during the day really bring up this pain that they have? Like they're probably not in pain 24 hours a day. What are those specific moments where they really feel a lot of those emotions, and how can you use those moments to in your own marketing or to sell some of your high ticket programs? For some people, the Amazon book reviews. So again, if you have a relevant authors or whatever space you're in, take a look at some of those Amazon book reviews. Just kind of, again, that's another place to just find out, how people describe their problem, what they're dealing with, what their experience was with that specific book, and going into some of that stuff. Again, you can do some other Google searches. Take a look at what your competition is putting out there. Is there common words and phrases that they're using all the time? Use your competitors have done some testing. They've done some research. Use their existing sales pages, not to copy, but use them as inspiration to get a sense for like, okay, like I'm not starting from zero here. I can build upon what my successful competitors have already done and build upon that stuff. And again, swipe instead of copying to get a sense for what's working right now. In terms of that, the other one is like keywords everywhere. Gives you a sense of, it's just a tool that you can use. Again, go back to the Google search or YouTube search. Gives you kind of the specific words, or like what are people typing into YouTube or Google? Like what are those highest search terms within your specific industry? Like what are they putting into that Google search in terms of like trying to find solutions for their problems or things like that? So it'll give you like, based on specific terms or keywords, like what's the volume that people are searching for that on a monthly basis. And it's really helpful in terms of doing that. So once you got a good sense of like the insider language, how do you kind of rank those in terms of priority, in terms of like how your audience is searching for them, and kind of narrow down that along the way. So again, like one of the things that you should do as I think about this is certainly on the low ticket side. If you're selling a low ticket type product, there's a lot of testing and things like that to get a sense for like what's working and what's not. Where I see from the high ticket side is people don't do as much testing from the language, like having conversations with their audience, getting testimonials, doing the work necessary to get people over the line. And again, just 1 or 2 percentage points in terms of conversion makes a huge difference in terms of your revenue and profits, especially if you're at the higher ticket end, selling 10 or 20K type of high ticket programs. If you're speaking your high ticket leads language, they're going to be much more confident in enrolling. And again, like little small tweaks can make the difference between your conversion, like your sales team converting at 25% and moving up to 30%. If you've got the right scripts, and in my case, having that one-to-one back and forth with your audience via email or chat. So think about how you can use that insider language, echo it back to your audience to increase your high ticket sales. If this was helpful, hit that like button on whatever platform you're watching on. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Coming out with content like 3 to 5 times a week in terms of high ticket sales, what's working, what are some of the learnings, And hopefully this will help you in terms of getting more high ticket sales in the door and thinking a little bit more differently about the classic model of having people fill out an application, jumping on a sales call. There is other avenues to increase your high ticket sales consistently at scale every single month. And I'm working with coaches and companies like you. So see you on a future live.